But I want to welcome everybody to my channel, The Candy Shop. I am so excited. The Candy Shop. So this is my story time, The Candy Shop. How is everyone doing out there? The Candy Shop. I am so excited. The Candy Shop. I am so excited. The Candy Shop. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Candy Shop. Tonight is Ladies' Night. And I have some of my college friends here. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So we'll start up at the top.
Hi, I'm Geraldine Worthy.
Hey, y'all. I'm April Scott.
Oh, y'all are so modest.
I don't know what needs to go in the introduction. I don't know what.
Right. I was like, we're also psychologists, but also good friends.
Yes, we all met at Tuskegee University. We were all, I want to say, weren't we all in OD freshman year?
I was actually in Douglas next door, but I was always in OD because my cousin was in OD.
I was in Adams because Kanea was in OD. So everybody thought I was in OD.
I definitely thought, I was about to say, because weren't you and Kanea my neighbors on the ground floor?
No, you know what? I don't know if y'all remember. She actually had another roommate, a girl from California, and we all used to sleep in that room together. I made me a pallet on the floor, a nasty OD floor. I used to make me a pallet.
That's all I know.
You got all the immunity. You good.
All of our antibodies are just fine.
Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We have two other ladies joining tonight. Of course, Lashida, she's a regular on my show. She texts me that she's coming. Y'all know by now from watching my channel, she's late. And then we have Miss Kay Kanea joining us as well. But we're gonna jump right into it. So, and hello, Kennard. This is my husband saying Tuskegee U.
Hey to you.
Yes, you know. So I'm gonna take that down, and we're gonna start talking about the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah. So I'm gonna just start off right here. To be honest, I didn't watch it. I just saw clips from it. I've seen Black men's reactions to it, and I'm not pleased. So, April, I'm gonna start with you because you saw I posted something about it. I think a doctor friend of ours from Auburn, I believe he graduated from Auburn, he made a beautiful post about it, and one of the guys in the YouTube streets that I know went in about it, and April clapped back, and then the guy was like, well, I was only here just trying to support Candace. So April, tell me your thoughts on the situation. Also, I want to know from the perspective of Black men, why do you think they're attacking her?
Oh gosh. I think it's this whole thing has been very interesting from the beginning. When it was announced that they were going to get married, you had one group of women saying like, yes, you know, she's about to be a Black princess, and then you had a group of people like, why are we celebrating this? Like, this is a family that is known for like pillaging other countries, and she's not even really Black. So it was already very divided anyway. And then there were some people like, why are we even talking about this?
Right.
So I was interested because one, slow news week. Two, we all suspected that things were hard for her, but to get the specifics of like how bad and how isolating. And then when she started talking about having thoughts of suicide, that's where my empathy, like regardless of the context, regardless of, royal or not, that to me, if you can't connect to someone being so despondent that they're ready to take their life, then I don't get, like, that's where I wonder with people. So as far as, I can't speak for Black men, because I had a lot of my Black male friends who were like Brandon, the one who posted the one you shared, who responded very thoughtfully to the interview. And then there were the people who were not as, so I don't even know if it's a gender thing, but in particular, I think some people are so caught up in like these gender wars that they want to be right so bad that they forget how to be human.
Yeah.
And with the person on your thread, so one of my pet peeves is I'm an opinionated person. I stand by that. I always have been. I'm a firm believer that when you say something, you need to stand up in it. Don't backtrack when you get checked on your inaccuracies. especially if you're not going to correct it. Like coming back and I'm just joking. No, you were serious. But yeah.
Right. Thank you. I agree. He was very serious, but I will say this. I've been on other YouTube platforms with him. And so he says he tries to play devil's advocate, but it's the same devil's advocate each time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what the devil has never needed. Help.
Not even once.
Ever has asked for an assistant.
Yes. Thank you, April. So, Geraldine, what are your thoughts?
You know, as someone who literally, like yourself, watch clips and highlights because I keep planning to watch it, but my career is in the way. But, but you know, I will say I have lightly followed Harry and Meghan kind of from the beginning of this. Oh, we're getting married and what's happening, and there seems to have been a lot of pressure along the way that you were able to kind of discern. And when you think about anyone who lives a very public life, whether they're an actress or a member of a royal family, particularly I think the British royal family, because they tend to take a lot of highlight in the international media, you understand that you're not going to be privy to all the ins and outs, but you also understand, I think to some extent, that tongue in cheek, you understand what's happening. You understand what's not said, right? About the pressures of conformity, about the pressures of what you will and won't do and can't do in a certain given situation. So I think throughout a lot of this, I did empathize with Meghan, irrespective of people's feelings about trying to qualify her Blackness on her behalf, which I think is inappropriate, or trying to qualify her decisions about her own personal romantic life, which again, not our business. I think in the end, like April said, you're looking at two humans, one who has the privilege of not having to bear the burden of the crown, who's always been a little bit more of a free spirit, and who has lived his love out loud for his wife and who's been fiercely protective. He saw what happened to his mom, and he was like, no, ma'am, no, sir. And I saw an article somewhere, and they were like, be the person. I don't know if it was a post or an article. They were like, be that person for your spouse. If you have a toxic family member, whether they wear a royal crown and have colonies or not, it is your job to be like, yeah, we're going to separate from this. And we're not going to be like, well, you know, that's just how my family is. And I think Harry did a great job there. And I think Meghan did a great job saying, hey, I'm going to be like your mom and I'm going to do my best to fulfill a role, but you're not going to squash on my toes and try to mute who I am as a human. These things were valid and important to me before and they are now. And I think catching scrutiny for being who you are because you're now a part of a certain family is unreasonable. And I empathize with the amount of sadness she felt, the pressure, the eyes constantly on, the audacity to wonder how her child would appear and why that would matter in terms of skin tone. You know, that's a lot to have to take on and hold inside of yourself. Even if you have a big F you in your mind, you're holding that in your spirit that these are your aunts, uncles, grandparents with these fears about who you are on the outside and not worried about who you're going to be on the inside.
Thank you, Geraldine. I echo both of your thoughts on this. Speaking from my perspective and marrying into a family, sometimes you don't know what you're signing up for because I know people will say, oh, you should have seen this beforehand or you knew what you were marrying into. No, you don't always know.
No.
Marriage
is a representative.
Thank you. So I definitely empathize with her. Yes, she knew she was signing up to be a part of the royal family, but maybe she didn't realize all that that it entailed. She didn't think about the days that, hey, they're not going to accept my child. Right. So I'm just not understanding why people are upset about her talking about it. And from that person that commented on my page, he said all she did was complain. But it's like, yes, you would complain too if you were constantly every day someone bringing up your color to you, people just really not
like your family.
And especially, and I'll say this, and hey, Dee, this is one of the ladies that I usually do a show with on another channel, Real Talk for Real Men. So, hey, thank you for watching. But I'll say this, Meghan Markle, to bring up her race, and that she's biracial. And so it's been brought up that she does not necessarily identify as Black. At some point in her life, she's going to be called Black. So it's always coming. So to say that she doesn't identify with us, I think that's just ridiculous to say, because I know there have been points in her life where that has happened and people have acknowledged her race and when she got married to him. So I think that's very ignorant to say
I think it's incredibly ignorant, and she has this beautiful mother with her brown skin. I'm like, she's lived in this household. This is her primary caregiver.
A Black woman, like visibly, noticeably Black, and even Meghan, although she's very fair skinned, but a lot of people's like, oh, she's white passing. I'm like, no, white passing means a person is intentionally trying to pass as white. So we got words mean things. Like we got to stop saying it. And I think biracial people or multiracial people have a really hard lot in life. And this is not like trying to go into the tragic mulatto, but I think it's okay to acknowledge that those with biracial identities struggle. And that doesn't take away from, people with only one identity. And I feel like it becomes such a contentious argument of like, because I think a lot of people only see the privilege that comes along with, her facial features. Because granted, probably her identity and the way she looks was what got her closer to her even access to Harry in the first place. And that's fair. Like two things can be true at once, but just because she acknowledges herself as biracial doesn't mean she's rejecting the Black side of her. Like I never got that from her.
Exactly. And if she did, we wouldn't know what her mother looked like. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So we'll go off of this topic. It looks like Miss Carol is joining us. Adore. So we'll go off of this topic. Rashida, turn your video down. There's a delay. But welcome, Lashida, Miss Carol. I was going to say Miss Curl. My little fake Southern accent's coming out. Miss Carol. AKA Adore. She has her rave review name because as quiet as it's kept, this is a rave reunion here as well.
It is.
So, Lashida, I want to get your thoughts on Meghan Markle and then we'll move on from that topic. But, Lashida, everything all right? You're muted.
Muted.
Sorry for the echo. I had too many windows open. Sorry for the delay. I definitely want to first say hello, everyone.
Hi.
I am always late because I'm totally a newbie at a lot of things, juggling a lot of hats. And being it's Women's Month, oh my God, I praise all women with all their different hats. I mean, I don't care if you're a mother or a businesswoman or, I mean, oh my God, sister. I mean, yeah. Just going to take a sip on that one because, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So, and that kind of rolls into the whole, my thoughts on, I don't know. I didn't even get the chance to view the interview with Oprah.
I didn't watch it either. I just watched clips, and I'm sure you, like me, you saw on social media people going in on her. So
they were mad that she was revealing her experience. Why should she hush about her experience? And I get that they have a long, reputation, and it's a historic. I mean, it's a family thing, but being in the modern world and that they are a modern couple, stepping into it was already something new. So, I mean, they're not longer obligated totally to all of the I guess requirements that go along. Yeah. So not that she's like totally not that I think that she is like totally spilling the tea, totally, just throwing shade to the entire family. You know what I mean? Like I think she did. I'm sure she held class about herself, but you can only speak on your experience. You can't help, how someone else made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then her experience would be unique and different because there is a huge factor that was different about her in the first place. So her sharing is just really probably a part of going forward. She knows that the type of platform that they even tried to start or set while the time that they were there they're too worldly. You know what I mean? They're too universal. She is herself a combination of multiculturals, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how much longer do you need to keep your mouth closed? How much longer do you need to hush it or sweep it under the rug? Like, we are here and now. You know what I mean? Like what Obama said it best, that we are the ones that are changing. You can't wait for the next one. So why are you telling her to hush?
Isn't that how all horrible things get kept going? You tell somebody to shut up, and
like it's okay. Like it's okay. You told something that was okay. It was not. It was never okay.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have on that topic. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to add to it? So I'm gonna go to another controversial topic. Now my wine is talking because I'm starting to slam words. But we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna say Lashida probably has seen some of these topics. We've talked about them on my show because I have Geraldine and April on here, Dr. Geraldine and Dr. April on here.
I only put it here because that's my IG handle.
I love it, but I wanted to revisit these topics. So the next one we'll talk about is the term Black Girl Magic. I'm going to give my opinion, and I know my opinion is very, it's unpopular. I don't like the term Black Girl Magic. I don't think there's anything magical about us. We're human. And this Black Girl Magic puts us to this whole nother level that is not human, and people expect us to not feel pain. They expect us to not have, they don't have empathy for us. And so I have always had an issue with the term Black Girl Magic because I'm not doing what I do because I'm magical. I'm just good at what I do. So that's my take on it. I want to hear from, I'll let Lashida go first. And yes, Lashida, I'm sorry. She told me to let y'all talk first.
I mean, because I already knew. I was totally laughing at the beginning of the show. I was like, yes, Geraldine and April definitely showed up. Yes. I said automatically, Geraldine was going to be my talking girl, and April was going to be my opinionated girl. And I was just there to add on to my opinion. I mean, that she, yeah.
Okay. So, Lashida, I'll let you pass. I'm going to start with Geraldine. So, Geraldine, what are your thoughts on the term Black Girl Magic?
My thoughts are not that far off from yours. I've always thought the important thing to understand is that everyone can be magical in their own way, but to put the label magic with one group, when I think we're carrying a lot already, right? And it kind of undermines the hard work, the talent, the perseverance that is necessary, I think, for all people, particularly women, and especially Black women in this country. I think it kind of like glosses over, oh, that's Black Girl Magic. And for me, I think people can take that and make it into so many meanings that aren't authentic to who we are as people, right? Oh, Black Girl Magic, that's just that sass or whatever. You think you're better. Or Black Girl Magic, well, that's, that's the affirmative action pass. What is Black Girl Magic? What is it? Do we have a little satchel that I wasn't issued? So I think a lot of it is just, I think it's terms for trying to recapture power, but I think there are better ways to do it, right? I think acknowledging the work ethic, I think acknowledging the drive, I think acknowledging that a significant number of PhD holding people in a population are Black women, and that's through blood, sweat, and tears, literal. So I think there's better ways to capture the essence of who we are as a people. And I don't know necessarily that we need a special label. I mean, I think the inherent value of who we are is in us, and recognizing us for our talent, our individual contributions, and our broad contributions to this country without trying to put a cute term on it so that it kind of diminishes the value is really what we're looking for, right? Recognize the blood, sweat, and tears we put in as women, as entrepreneurs, as doctors, as lawyers, as mommies, as engineers. Value that.
Yes, thank you, Geraldine. You said a mouthful. I want to hear April's thoughts on it.
I agree. So Candace, your opinion is not very unpopular here. I've said this for years. I've never been a fan of it, but I also tend to be literal when it comes to words. So, but for the same reasons you all said, it's not magic. I didn't wake up like this. Like everything that I have, blood, sweat, and tears, or the sacrifices of people who came before me.
Yes.
And to term it as magic, it makes it seem like, oh, it was just so easy. Like, no. Now, I think it's just not a lack of creativity, but just wanting to put a cute stamp or a cute phrase on the essence of Black women. And so I think so I get it. Like, I think the intentions were good, but for the reasons you all named, I'm not a fan of it, because I don't think it captures the reality of what it took to get all of this quote unquote magic. What you see as magic is actually the end result of years or centuries even of fighting and working and being awesome, being dynamic in spite of. That's not magic.
Thank you, April. Exactly. It minimizes our resiliency because we are very resilient, and we've had to be that, and we've had to be the strong person. And I feel like it adds to the stereotype of strong Black women and all this other stuff, which I don't like that as well, because I'm a woman, I'm human. I'm not always going to be strong. I have feelings. I need sometimes to lay my head down and cry sometimes. And so I feel like that, like you said, April, it's a cute stamp on something. It comes from a good place, but I'm not here for it. So, so Lashita, what are your thoughts? You're muted, Lashita.
Sorry, my alerts were going off. But maybe I should have talked first, because my opinion is different on this. And it's not any different. I agree totally with all you say, but I don't feel so bad about the label, only because I feel like they don't give us anything. You know, I mean, I love when they being the girly girl, in the essence of, okay, you have the princesses, the queens, the Cinderellas. Where are we? You know what I mean? So just to give us a little bit of shine, a little bit of glimmer, a little bit of anything outside of being totally what y'all are wanting to hold, you know, for the Black woman, which is, yes, we're powerful, we're strong, we're, you know, we also have feelings, have emotions, you know what I mean? But we too are queens, and we too are over the top. You can't even imagine magical. I would tell my daughter that. I would tell her, because I mean, I talk to my nieces and honorary nieces like that. I tell them, you show up and you show out, meaning you stand up, even, you know, despite all that you have to go through, despite all of the tears and hard work, not discrediting it. Despite that, you show up like it's effortless. You show up and you do your best. You show up and don't feel like you've got to regress and just, you know, feel like you're not enough. You know what I mean? So the Black girl magic would be, in essence of what I was saying with the show up and show out, or how people say fake it till you make it. Not that you're being fake, but you do it until you got it. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, it's just putting on until you are on. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's still you. Everybody has to grow. Everybody has different levels, but till you get it, you got it. You know what I mean? That's the magical part about it. You may not have met where they wanted you to be, because we never started out in the same, in essence of in their light. But that don't mean you won't get there and surpass them. That's the magical part about it. Here I am, showing up, showing out, and moving on. Bye.
Well, thank you, Lashita. So I want to go to this comment, and this person, Nev Ander, this is where I get people just randomly commenting, and yeah, you're going to have to explain this comment. So he said, typical trick, contact someone from same color to defend racism claim. Old leaders of British Empire used to do when they were colonizing world. Most racist thing to do is defend racism like that. So sir, if you're a sir, I don't know what you're trying to say. But I wanted to highlight that. I don't get it, but that's what happens on my channel a lot of times. I think
they were talking about the Meghan and Harry.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what they were referring to, but I'm not sure specifically if they were saying that they feel people were trying to defend racism in the social media, or if they think we were. That was really unclear as a comment.
Or was it the
Yeah.
royal family defending racism?
Right.
Yeah, we need some clarification.
So, yeah, so thank you for your comment, because all of these comments help bring traffic to my channel, but I was confused. But thank you. So Black Girl Magic, though, Lashida, I know you sound a lot like my mother. She loves the comments. She was like, I'm gonna say it. I don't care what you think, Candace, I'm saying it. And I was like, okay. But
well, also
yeah.
with that, like back in the, considering I was born, considering I went through it, it must have been 90s. When the whole the Black thing was cool. You know what I'm saying? Saying I'm Black and I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? That doing that command is similar to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're proud. I mean, we weren't given anything to be proud about. Let them tell it. You know what I'm saying? But you were running around saying it, wearing t-shirts with it, Black power, such and such is the new Black. And all of those are just phrases, like I said, just to not, I don't want it to feel like it's out of the element. I want it to be a way, maybe it's not the best way, but it is a way. And who coins it or whatnot, I don't know. We just have some of the weirdest things within our culture, and then given from other cultures. And I just think that we do need some, though. I mean, you have to have a chant for us. You have to have something to go on with, you know what I mean? Until you get there, because everybody does not have the confidence or not taught in their household to be have the self-confidence, to have the pride in their race, to go out and just represent and walk around like they're king and queen. They're not raised like that. So if you need that phrase, or if you need that saying, if you need that title, I say get it and get on with it. You got to show it. You know, you got to bring it. You can't just say I'm a queen and then carry yourself totally opposite.
But yeah. I'll say this: saying I'm a queen and saying I'm magical, to me, are two different things. So
yeah, it can be. I get it.
But I do want to go to this comment. So Nev Ander was talking about Meghan Markle. He or she said pregnant women suffer from mental health and racism. She is putting her truth out. These racist British media does, it's a couple of typos, doesn't pay Black folks from her and say royal are not racist. WTF, how racist and nasty is that? So yeah, we definitely get that. The whole situation that Meghan Markle is going through is very racist. They tried to say it wasn't, but we all know it is. We knew what it was prior to her even marrying him. So
right, we knew what it was before I do.
Yes. My husband said it's an I am affirmation to love yourself and accomplishment. So yeah, the Black Girl Magic, yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on that. I enjoyed everybody's take on it. Did you guys have anything else to add to this? No.
Black Girl Magic. Are they going to have a show?
Well, the Black Girls Rock, wasn't that a show?
Yeah. So and we do.
Yeah, I like
that one. Yes, I can get behind.
I rather that term than Black Girl Magic. Black Girls Rock, I rather that. But let's go to Featurism and Colorism. So we talked about this. I'm trying to think. Was it it was 2 weeks ago. The last time I had a show, and I had some man comment telling me there's no such thing as Afrocentric features or Featurism, but he named every part of the African country and told me different people look like whatever. So I'm like, you said it don't exist, but then you just named it.
You contradicted yourself.
And then he told me, because it was a show with me, Lashida, me and another friend of mine that does my show, and he was like, the only attractive woman on there is the dark-skinned woman. And I deleted his comment because he was trying to, I feel like he was trying to be divisive. So what I want to say to hey Angel. So what I want to say to Featurism and Colorism, it definitely exists with features. We are often told as Black women, our features are not the most desirable, but yet people get all this Botox and all these lip fillers to look like what we look like, but yet we are the least desirable. And then colorism plays into that as well. So there is still colorism in our community. Sure. Lashida, I am going to start with you first. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Lashida.
You thinking? You thinking?
She's
Or you
processing
frozen?
through
Oh,
it.
no. Are you frozen or you thinking?
You don't know what to say, Lashida? You muted.
For a minute.
Okay. So we'll start with April. So
Yeah.
April.
It's absolutely real, and people are ridiculous for denying it. And another thing that I don't like hearing when on conversations around colorism is that colorism goes both ways. It's like, no, people can be colorist, and it's almost like how people say racism goes both ways. Like, no, the consequences don't. The attitude can go both ways, but the consequences don't. So, and we know where colorism comes from. Like, and it's also worldwide. You see it in other cultures. You see it in Indian cultures and Mexican cultures, that the darker you are, the least desirable you are considered. And I think why some men have such a disconnect is because men's social status is not often based on attractiveness. It's usually money. So they don't really have the same demands to be pretty or attractive. Because you've seen unattractive men with beautiful wives, because that's not really their social capital the way our society is set up. Whereas women, it is typically about looks, from everything between jobs, raises, all of it. You see it around your perceived level of attractiveness. And if you are in the United States, what you have been taught is that the closer to European features you have, the more attractive that you are. And people don't like Black features until they're on white women or non-Black women. Like, and that's the thing I think to this day that kills me, when you see some of these like artists who will take on a whole Black woman persona, but they're white, but because they will done the hair, the nails, even the voice, the vocal inflections. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, whether it's Danny Lee, whether it's Iggy, whether it's whomever, and it's like, wow, because when we did it, it was ghetto. But now it's a trend when someone else does it, but it absolutely exists.
Yeah, and I agree, April. And I'll say this, the whole reason why I don't care about being ghetto, why I don't care about being Black and my Blackness, is because if it's done by a white person, it's going to be praised. So I'm just going to do me.
And
that, like, I cannot, because of that very reason, when people do stuff with it, when they criticize the twerking and all this other stuff, I don't criticize it, because if it was a white person doing it, it would be praised. So I just know culturally, those are things that we do, and I love who we are culturally. Right. So Geraldine, what are your thoughts on featurism and colorism?
There's real as real can be. And, I struggled some with it when I was younger, just because my mother is quite fair and my father's a beautiful shade of brown. And then I showed up to a lot of spaces being told that I was not brown enough. And there was nothing I could do to be brown enough, right? Like, I tried, but they were like, you get like these off cuff terms, even from other Black people, like, oh, you're an Oreo. And I'm like, well, what is that? America's sweetest cookie. What are you trying to say to me? And I think it took a long time to get over that, to be comfortable in my own skin, because I felt like, well, I was good with who I was, but I have people who I thought I identified with telling me, nah, this ain't it. And they're like, well, what is that? And even in college, there was a young man who really liked me, but it was off-putting because his preoccupation with me was based on my features. And he said as much, your features, I have these, I'm really dark skinned and have these full features, but, a lot of the women in my family are fair skinned, or they have thin features like you. And I like your thin features. And I don't want to be liked because you think my features look like one thing or another. Like, that's not who I am. I am more than whatever happened to my face beyond my control in my mother's womb, and I think part of the colorism, like April said, there's a historical, for sure, context to all of this. And we all know what that is. And I think part of it is moving beyond and embracing and looking at the full diaspora of Black people and being like, that shit is beautiful. Like, we are attractive people, and has nothing to do with the areas that are colonized for these thinner features. It's just like the combination of who we are, when I set eyes on us, like, we're a handsome group of individuals. And I think because we're in a place where that is not valued, because we're not the majority culture, we're being told that ain't it. And I think part of it is learning to separate our mindset from majority culture and own what is ours and say, you know what? No, we kind of rock. Like, this is it. I don't need that. I don't need the Michael Jackson thin my nose until it's hard to breathe, or it looks like it's hard to breathe. You know, it's it's not what we need to do. You know, and like you said, there are people out there paying lots of money to spread stuff out and to get fuller here and to get cheekbones that emulate the way our cheekbones are. Certainly, there are a lot of products to add padding to areas where it doesn't naturally occur in their bodies, right? And I think it's part of that is realizing that we've all heard, oh, look at that baby, it's beautiful. And the baby's beautiful because of its skin tone. And then you see the combination of features like, oh, that baby's precious, right? So so I think it's being honest with ourselves that a lot of what is in us is rooted in our Jim Crow past, what allowed people access to things, right? You're beautiful because you would be allowed access to things that my brown skin wouldn't allow me to. That makes you great. And moving beyond that, because ultimately I don't think America's going to move beyond it unless we move beyond it and push through that narrative.
I agree. I'm going to get to Lashida in a second, but Geraldine, I can definitely see that you dealing with featurism, because if you look at me and Geraldine, we look the same complexion, but I would be more Afrocentric because my features are more Afrocentric and Geraldine has more European looking features. And so if we went into those circles where I'll say it's our own people a lot of times, because I can't even say our own people. They're more willing to accept Geraldine because of what her hair looks like and because her nose might not be as wide as mine or her lips might not be as big as mine.
Right.
So it's just crazy how we view each other, and it goes back to psychologically, it goes back to slavery.
Yeah.
But go ahead, April.
Well, I was thinking too, it also depends on what settings Geraldine goes into, because I'm willing to bet if Geraldine went into an all Black woman setting, she's not going to be as accepted, because immediately she's going to be seen as you're the one who gets put on the pedestal. So although there may be some truth in that, what it does, it breeds resentment and this like contentious relationship. So that's why I would say, like, I won't say colorism goes both ways. I think the attitude that colorism, like the stuff that it stirred up, affects us all. Because still at the end of the day, and not to just diminish anyone's experiences, nobody wants to feel less than when you think of the cost, you know, because when we look at the cost of it is different. Not that it's not there, I think, because even I don't know if you all saw the documentary Dark Girls and Light Girls.
I was just about to comment on that. Tatiana Ali. Remember, she was on Light Girls. And I was like, Tatiana Ali is not a light girl, but her features, because she has fine hair,
and
she was featured on Light Girls. And I was like, this is so.
But I just remember the stark contrast, because I think what their experiences are valid. Like they were told, you think you're pretty, you think you're better than everyone else. But even when you contrasted what they were called, it was like, I was told that I was stuck up. I was told that I thought I was better. I thought I was Black enough. Dark Girls, I was called a cockroach. I was called Blackie. I was called, and this is like, do you see, like, both? Nobody should be name called, but
certainly one group of names is a lot harsher than the other.
I'd much rather be told that I think I'm stuck up than called a cockroach.
I was gonna say, I've been told that I'm stuck up. You're gonna marry a white man. That was another one based off of what it looked like or my temperament. There's a girl that usually does a show with me, and me and her are the exact same, but for some reason people will read me as innocent and read her as a hoe. But we are the exact same. Like, from our stories, we've both been married twice, because I don't know if you guys know, but I've been married twice. We almost have the same amount of kids. I have more kids, but just meeting us, people would read me as more innocent than she is. And it's just crazy. But Lashida, I'm gonna let you talk on this. Are you ready to talk, Lashida? Okay. Sheeta.
Okay.
I
was researching.
Oh, okay.
I want to hear your experience, though, Lashida.
I had to get the definition. I had to get the definition.
But you're a lighter toned Black woman. So what is your experience?
Girl, I don't know. And I'm in the South. Now, I don't know. I mean, before I get to that, so what my thoughts were because I'm always in the art perspective, right? So I'm really big on the 50 Shades of Brown. And typically in art, when you're not taught there's 50 Shades of Brown. You're not even taught how to paint a Black person. You get that one brown.
Yeah.
For Caucasian, the one tan. You might go into different shades. Even you can research it right now. You can just go try to find anybody painting. There's not going to be a lot of content on how to draw a person of color. Not even saying that they would have to be African American. They can be, something with olive tone or whatnot. But then if you go into the features, if you take there are studies that's been done, especially because we're all, being that we dealt in fashion, but there was different sides to the fashion, and being editorial, there was a specific look in editorial. I mean, and no matter your color, even when they started introducing color, the look was still the same as far as your features. And so with this term, it says it's derived with slang. So that means we did it, like, really. So I don't think we came up with some word that, or maybe we did, because I don't like when a person of color with features that are eccentric, if you want to call them, or larger, does make those adjustments to look more
Eurocentric or more popularly acceptable,
right?
Yes.
Including, like, for the biggest one we have in the public eye would be Michael Jackson, but being the market that he was,
we love him.
Yeah, we totally love him.
Do we though? I don't know. The stuff that came, the allegations.
He could be a problematic figure.
I mean, talent wise, I'm not talking about behind the scenes. Somebody's talking about
the problematic phase.
Talent wise. Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to see what he was capable of if he didn't start making those changes. And that's the harsh reality of it. Because even back then, when they were creating Motown and when they were creating all these different, Motown was the, where they were generating black groups. But before then, they were stealing the look, the sound, especially with like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Although he was a great dancer, my grandmother loved him, had me watching him every spring break. But he didn't learn that from himself. And I'm just going to say that. I wasn't there, but I was there. And you know what I mean? I feel like it's a stolen culture, but that's everything with us. I mean, that's just proof. It's evidence. So with that, to discredit us on one hand, but then you're trying to take everything to put it to you and your liking, like you're not even saying who you are and who you were born to be. You know what I'm saying? You're making adjustments to look more like our culture, but you're telling our culture you shouldn't look like you. That's the irony of it. And I don't think it's right. I don't like when we that have the larger features or whatever the case is, make those adjustments trying to look like something else. I mean, I want you to be happy in your skin. I want you to be healthier as you are. And why go change yourself if you are not like I said, like someone like Michael Jackson, where you're destined to be in the media. The media are the only people that will tear you down if you are not what they want you or perceive you to be. You know what I mean? Like, so to stay at home and you just want, saying you're going to change your whole look to look like Kim Kardashian to do what?
Who's trying to look like us? She's trying to look like us.
But I'm saying just for the average person that may have an issue, you know what I'm saying, with themselves. You want to change your whole everything to look like him to do what?
To be deemed attractive and likable. That's
okay. So
that's more of an esteem issue,
but if they aren't in social media, if you aren't going to be seen like you just want to be walking in the streets and is that enough? You know what I mean?
Well,
like, is it worth it?
I think for a lot of people it is. Because
which is crazy, which is why,
but I get it though. I get, because even like with Michael Jackson, it wasn't the media telling him he was dark, it was his daddy.
Yep.
He was already successful before. He had already had Off the Wall, and Thriller, even before all of that. I mean, the whole family got the same nose job, but the skin
really
came
did.
later. But that was his dad. And even like, so this is a trend that I see, and I cringe every time. So I hope I'm not offending anybody. Black women contouring their nose when they do their makeup. I always go, why? Like, I get sometimes they're just makeup trends, but I'm like, why Black women, why are we contouring our noses? Contouring it to do what? Can we just think about it?
Right.
Because what is it? We're making it smaller. Why? Because that's the filters on Instagram. I think it was Snapchat who had the filters. If you notice, a lot of the filters even preset on your phone. When you beautify, they're making things narrow and small.
They sure do.
Yeah.
All of them look like that little
Your
cat
nose
look.
and lips get thinner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a testament to that because I use filters on some of my thumbnails, and if you notice, my nose is like skinnier. I'll be thinking, I hope these people realize it's me.
Look, I did a filter one time. I said, "Ooh," then I was like, "Wait a minute, y'all took out about 2 inches off my chin. Don't be lying to me."
My jawline is different. The extra tan I acquired during COVID is nice and smooth.
Yeah. So this featurism, colorism is real. It's something that we deal more with women. Like April, you said, I believe you said it. Men aren't rated on what they look like. It's more of their money. And so that's why they will say this doesn't exist. But being a woman, and I'll say this because I can't say I still don't believe we're equal to them. We're still judged off of what we look like when it comes to jobs and everything. With you ladies being doctors, you're very beautiful women. So I'm sure your clients are choosing you because of what you look like.
Or not choosing us.
That too. Not choosing you because of what you look like. But we are judged based off of what we look like versus men are judged more of how intelligent they are, their money, all of that. And so that's why I can see Black men are saying like, oh, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. But you're right. It does exist. And I think it was a conversation I had not long before I started the show, but about how, we say, well, historically, you see these old fat guys with lots of wealth marrying these young, attractive women, right? They had the wealth to get the more, young, fertile, whatever. They had their pick of the litter, right? Because they were more able to provide. So any woman, no matter how attractive, like, yeah, he's a beast, but like, I'm not going to starve to death, right? I'm not going to be in these streets, right?
You said no such thing as an ugly millionaire.
I'm just saying, right?
This is my question. Is it wrong for us, because men hate when we say we don't need them, is it wrong for us to be able to provide for ourselves, do things for ourselves, and actually truly marry for love? Like when I'm providing for myself, when I don't need, well, I'll say this, I do still want a man on my level. My husband is above my level financial wise, but is it wrong for us to say that we're independent in that sense?
No,
we can't win for losing, because then if we dependent, they get married too. So what are we supposed
but then
to
if we
do?
want them for money, we're gold diggers.
Because that's the thing. If you don't want me to be independent, then that means I am marrying and dating for stability. So that means if you cannot provide, I am not dating you. So which one am I? That's kind of what you said before about like just be me. I just do you, because no matter what, somebody is going to complain.
They're going to fall from
it. What you do?
Yes, with that, and also with looks. Like with my features, I feel like God didn't make any mistakes. I look like what I look like for a reason, and so someone's going to love it. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So what someone might think is a 1, another person might think is a 10, even though these men out here is trying to say now that there's no 10. This is something new to me. But that's a whole nother segment in itself. So
you said there's no 10?
Yeah, I did a show where, first of all, I don't rate men, but there are some women that rate men, but men rate us. And they said there's no such thing as a 10. A 10 is absolutely perfect. And when we think about a 10, we think about all we can bring also along with our look, where they are strictly rating us on our looks and not what we can bring them to the table and with our mind and all of that. So
interesting. Well, they're not
Right.
a lot of 10s, just like numerically. Well, not even numeric. I think more so probability. And there's, I wish, if I find it, I'll send it to y'all. I think maybe A&E. Someone did a documentary years ago around, or example around attractiveness, where they had men and women in a room and they had them rate one another on scale 1 to 10, and the people didn't know what they had been rated, but the ones observing notice what had rated. And you saw kind of like a bell curve, so to speak, where there were only a few 10s. Most people came in the middle. Very few 1s, very few 10s. Most people are average. That's what the word, that's what the word average means, right?
You sound like you're talking like the person we won't mention.
But that's just reality. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just, so I don't use that. See, that you can say his name, it's fine. He uses that as a way to devalue people. So because you are a this, then you don't deserve. That's taking it to a whole nother level. But what they found is that people migrated to people kind of similarly matched.
Yeah.
And that's all. But that's, guess what? That dude didn't come up with that. That's an evolutionary theory like that.
Well,
you can look at psychology and find that.
Well, I will say this younger generation, especially in regards to women, well, to me, they're very interesting. A lot of these women are so-called, I guess, looking for these 6-figure men, which that's new. Because I told my husband, I said, since when did women say, "Oh, I want a 6-figure guy"? No,
and
we always want to
understand the number of men making that amount of money. Like we all fight for the same 30,000 people.
We wanted men that can provide. Like I was brought up to date a man that can provide. My grandfather always told me, because I didn't grow up with my father, but he told me from the Bible, a man that don't work don't eat. So I was brought up to date a man that could provide for me and my family. Now, if it's 6 figures, awesome. If it's not, oh well. But I wasn't looking for this certain number, and that's what gets me about this newer generation and those people that the guy is pandering to, because they're all in this high value thing and high value this. That is just interesting to me. But that's my 2 cents on that. Did you guys? Oh shoot, I got some comments. 6 feet, 6 figures, and 6-pack. Okay, so
I will take 2 out of 3.
We'll take it, but I feel like this with women, we date whoever we mesh well with. Some women have these whole list of things, and some women, like I'll just say this for myself. I didn't have a list, but I knew what I wasn't going to deal with. So it wasn't that it was a list, but it was what I was going to be, what I was going to allow in my life and what I wasn't going to allow. So,
and that's it. People say like women have these lists, y'all stick to these lists. I'm like, I know what I will and won't accept in terms of quality, but in terms of he has to be 6 feet or he has to be, I'm like, that would be nice, but that's not the thing. Like we either click or we don't. Because if I get a 6-foot Ripley tummy jackass, it's not going to work.
Right.
Exactly. And that's what I said this on a previous show. This 6-figure man could be a child molester. Like I just can't do it. So that's why for me, instead of a high value man, it's more of a man of quality. So it's what I consider quality.
Rating people as high and low value is some sociopathic shit. I'm just like, where people aren't cars, right? Like you don't assign value to people based off.
Although we do try to trade the men, but you're right.
So that's a whole nother, like, God is such a. But one thing I will say is I do think Black women are often faulted for saying that they have expectations. I feel like we are, this is probably the only rare times I will ever say this, I do feel like we are the only ethnic or racial group where Black women are expected to deal with the bare minimum.
Yes,
or accept the bare minimum. In no other culture will you see, as much as people want to praise other cultures when it comes to marriage, you will never go into a Muslim culture and hear a father tell their daughter, just take, it's okay if you work at McDonald's. You will not hear that.
Well, let me say this, April.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is when we have our children by them, and say the father leaves, it's our fault because we chose a man that worked at McDonald's. So
you can't win for losing. So I think there's nothing wrong with having standards. There's nothing wrong with having preferences. I think there is amount of flexibility that you have to have. Like, it's like if you go car shop. I mean, I hate to use a car analogy, but if you go car shopping or house shopping, you may have the things like, I have to have this. These are the things I can kind of like, it'll be nice, but I'm not about to go into debt to get it. So even in dating, of course, everybody wants the physical type that they want, but if the character is more important to you than the physical, then you're gonna go towards that. So I think it's not so much as not having standards, not having preferences, is not being a slave to those things and knowing what you don't want, knowing what's your non-negotiables. I think that's where the truth of the matter is.
Thank you. Can y'all answer this? Why are people so critical of what every move we make as Black women? Like, everybody judges every single thing that we do. It's like analyzed, and I don't like it. And I'll tell you guys this, because you guys are doctors of psychology. In my career, I manage a team of 10. I'm high ranking. I cover 11 campuses in my career. And I just feel like I'm asked to do that. I gotta be a mom. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And it's constant, like, things being put on me and me being criticized. Then I'm told, I've been told on my channel, I'm lying to Black women because I shouldn't be teaching them to be successful and smart and go to school and be about themselves and have self-worth. That's a lie, because that's not going to get a man. So.
Well, I declare I will die on this channel if I do not get a man by the end of the night.
Oh, Lord, help us all.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually talked about my career, because I keep it actually separate from my my YouTube. I'm in the education industry, for profit as well, but yes, I run 11 campuses, so I am that chick.
There you go. Don't be humble.
But it just feels like, coming from, I want to ask you guys this, coming from the psychological aspect of it, why are we blamed for so much? Why are we scrutinized? Every little move we make is scrutinized.
Because if I got to look at you, I don't have to look at me. As long as I keep the focus on what you're doing wrong, and that's not even psychology, that's just April talking.
Yeah, but you said succinctly what exactly I was going to say. I'm like, that's just projection. I'm looking at you and I'm seeing the stuff in me, and you're an easier target, so I'm gonna dump this on you.
Deflection. Wow. That means I don't have to do the work as long as I put the responsibility. Then you throw in some sexism and patriarchy in the mix. Boom.
Right.
Which is
why I can make you the worst human in this situation, then I don't have to deal with my stuff. I just have to find something to hang my hat on.
Yeah.
Well, all of this leads into my next topic. Before I move to it, Lashida, did you have anything to add that you wanted to say? All right, Lashida. Usually
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So the last topic, which I know a lot of people don't like, is the pick me simp topic. So pick me, and I've called a couple of women pick me's, and I don't hate men, but a pick me, the definition of a pick me is a woman that has internalized misogyny. They put down men. They put down women in order to uplift men, thinking that they're going to get a man by putting down women. Simp to me is a little different. Simps are men that are willing to listen to us and cater to us, but they're not putting down men to do it. But pick-me's do. And I'll say this: 2 weeks ago, I went off. I was drunk. I went off on a girl that I thought was a pick-me, and I went completely off because I'll tell you this: what brought that? She said there was no such thing as toxic masculinity, but there is a such thing as toxic females. For one, you refer to women as females in a negative light. And two, you said there were no toxic males. And then they bit my head off because the guy on the show said that he was a self-proclaimed toxic male. And I said, no, you don't seem toxic. You're a little bit misogynist. You're misogynistic, but I don't think you're completely toxic. And he bit my head off for calling him a misogynist. But I'm like,
wait. So he
And hey,
Sandy is toxic, but not a misogynist.
yes. And I'm like, it's the same thing. She said, the girl that I called a pick me said that the term toxic female, because they looked it up, came from bitter doctors that were women that were sitting around and were trying to change the narrative of men. And now, because they tied it into how masculinity itself is just toxic. All masculinity is toxic. And so I want to say this on my platform before I let you ladies talk. I'm not bashing men, but can we keep it all the way 100? There's one thing of being masculine, and then there's also toxic. A real man knows that he still needs a woman to survive. No, and is not going to put me down as a woman, and is going to accept my femininity, going to hear me out. That's a man can be a man regardless of how I'm being. But these other men that are toxic, that want to shut me down, and they're on this whole, I'm gonna say his name is Kevin Samuels tip, is toxic. So I'm gonna let y'all talk because my liquor's talking. Hopefully the little trolls don't come and light me up, because they love to do that on my channel.
Listen, text me next time somebody bite your head off. Text me. If it's before 10:30, I'll still be awake.
So April, what are your thoughts on the term pick me and simp?
Oh, so simp is interesting because I have a friend who did just like a week-long series about simp and why people are so, particularly like when the Russell Wilson thing came up. And it comes back to just misogyny. Men, there are so many men who really hate women. They like having sex with women, but they don't really value or appreciate, because they think anything that you do nice for a woman, it has to have some type of end goal. So simps are these men who are basically, buying women's things and being nice and praising their women, maybe for hopes of getting the woman. I don't know. And I think I heard that simp actually emerged from the pimp culture. Like it's the opposite of a pimp.
Too Short, I guess, coined the term simp.
Was it not? I think it might have been around before him.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't know. I thought he coined it.
I have to do some more research, but I believe someone said that no, it's not about catering to a man. I think that's some selective hearing.
J-Rock, I was gonna say, J-Rock, and this is a normal viewer of mine. It's not about catering to a man, because I'm a woman. I'm not a pick-me. I cater to my man, but I'm not putting down these other ladies that I know I need, because I still have a sisterhood, in order to cater to my man. So that's the difference. But I'm gonna let you continue your thought, April.
Well, it's also selective hearing, because nobody said that was the definition of a pygmy. So I don't even know where that came from. What you specifically said is a woman who puts down other women to elevate herself. So it's interesting how all you heard was a woman who caters to men like that. So don't know where that came from. So it's not about dogging anyone out. Anybody who has to dog someone out, that has nothing to do with loneliness. That has to do with bitterness, regardless of what you have in between your legs. So if the only way that you can elevate your status is to step on somebody's neck, that shows that you are lacking. So you should be able, as a man or a woman, to be strong in who you are, to be confident enough in your game to not have to worry about what another man or woman is doing. If you have to do that, do some of your own soul searching. It has nothing to do with other people. You got some deficits you need to work on.
Thank you, April. And I want to say the girl that I called a pick me, she called me a pick me for calling her out, but I don't feel like I'm a pick me for calling her out. I'm holding you accountable as a woman. I will always say this: I'm a girl's girl, so we can be sisters, but I'm gonna call out my sister. I'm gonna just do that. And so I'm not being a pick me. I'm not catering to these men, but I'm calling you out on putting down me as a woman for standing in my femininity. That's how I feel. Right. Yeah. So, Geraldine, what are your thoughts on the whole pick me and simp term?
I think they're both very interesting. I will start with the pick me. I find it interesting because, much like you, I find that this is a woman who will demean other women, and to try to elevate herself, to try to make herself appear more than, like, I'm much more qualified. I would never do that to a man, and I would never do, like, those women are, and better to, in her hopes to better elevate her chance to secure a man, right? And I feel like that requires some soul searching, because like April said, if you're having to put me down to try to improve your chances, there's something with you. And the fact that you think that diminishing me in any way actually improves your chances, reflects some cognitive distortions that probably need to be addressed with your local therapist. But I think also, just finding ways to think about, well, why can't you be supportive of your man, whoever he may be, and still be supportive of women? Why do I have to choose? Because much like you, right, you have your sisterhood. I'm like, I have my sisterhood. I support my women. I have all my girls. I don't diminish anything they do, unless they out the pocket, and then you hold people accountable so they're good humans. But that doesn't mean that I can't support my man, right? And honor and value whoever he is at the same time, and give him that same level of support. I don't have to put anybody else down to support him or myself. I think in terms of simping, I think it really depends on who you ask. When you're looking at, I find that some guys have a hard time picking a label, right? If there's a guy, a Russell Wilson type, if you will, right, who is just generally a good dude, he was raised a certain way to value families, to put women in negative light because of past relationships or whatever is going on, sees the value of who they are, where they're at in that moment, and he decides for himself who he's going to be as a man, then that's fine. He's got a healthy marriage. Meanwhile, somebody's out there like, he's simping, and he's talking trash about some woman he doesn't like that he has an on again, off again with, right? But to that same effect, I do think that there are some people out there who are engaged in some behavior that's maladaptive for themselves, right? They are catering to women in hopes of some payoff in the end, right? If I buy her this, if I take her there, if I listen to her problems about this other dude, hopefully one day she'll choose me, right? That's not healthy for the guy either. It's not a healthy cycle for gentlemen. I think there's nothing wrong with being a good friend if that's where your heart is and that's who you are, but doing it with the expectation of payoff is where it becomes problematic. And I think even to lend a little danger to it, I think that's where we maybe start to trickle towards where some of these guys can go extreme and become these incels, right? The involuntary celibate dude, right?
Yes, I'm glad you say that, because a lot of people don't know that term, but I'm glad you know it, incel.
Right. And so I think, when you're able to do this and people are like, oh, you simping, like, hey, I don't have any expectations of this woman because I can value her as a woman without expectations of intimacy or payoff in romantic relationship. That's just being a quality human, right? It's the manipulation and hope that I can trick you into pretending I'm a good caring guy in hopes of getting something in the end that looks bad, particularly when it doesn't work out to your benefits. You don't get that thing you thought you were going to get, right? And that's where we kind of go towards that. I hate all women. Women are just users. It's like, hey, a lot of the time women don't ask for this stuff that you volunteer out there. There are women who do. There are, you mind your P's and Q's, but there are a lot of women who don't ask. You volunteer that, and now you're labeled her as toxic because you didn't get what you wanted, and that's not fair.
Yes, thank you, Geraldine. Oh, I love having y'all on my show because y'all make so much sense. So, Lashida, what are your thoughts on the pick me simp thing? I know. I know. Go ahead, Lashida.
You're muted.
Sorry. That's a simp talk. No, seriously. Okay, so I was researching.
I was about to say, I bet you was looking it up.
Because that's what I do.
We've talked about this before. Why are you researching?
It's not researching definition. It's just researching.
What are your views on it, Lashida? I want to hear your views.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. When somebody makes their opinion, then I have a view on it. Do you see what I'm saying? See, that's what I'm saying. I don't have no view on a simp. I don't like it when guys do the most for mean people. I don't like it when guys aren't being genuine. If you don't genuinely want to do something, but you're trying to get something out of it, or you're not getting anything out of it because somebody, the girl or whatever, females may be taking advantage of you. I don't like when guys think that if you're doing something nice or catering to a female, that's being a simp. That's that's just bull crap. Because the way that I just feel sorry for the younger generation and the way that relationships are portrayed to them and how they should pursue them, I just feel sorry because I'm like, no way. Like, how can you ever have a relationship? Because they don't present them in a matter of any type of loyalty, any type of respect, any type of
affection.
You know what I mean? Like it's so open and get with everybody and do with everything. But if you're opposite of that, you're considered a simp. If you're more preserved, if you're more selective, if you're more polite, you're a simp. And a lot of those type guys could be found in the church. Only to say that they have some substance about themselves. They have something that they have been kind of reared and raised in a sense of respect from old school. So this new school, to me, is like because it's being reintroduced, as I see, in TikTok, and these guys that are kind of taking on this term. I just feel like there wasn't a connection of old to new, in a sense of you wouldn't take on that term if you really knew that that's what you should be doing anyway, or that you should have a balance of standing for something and not just falling for everything.
What do you think of pick-me's?
What's the other girl? Yeah, no, same thing. So like, same thing. I don't like when girls you're just trying to say everything just to get the favor of a guy, which is also, putting down the next female or class of females. Like that's not you, honey. You're still a female. And it's not making you look any better. It's not going to make you win in the end. And, it gets you the laugh. It gets you the with the guys kind of title or like you're okay one of the guys, but it also puts you just thin line or borderline from being in the mindset in the back of a guy's head of being the hoe or the girl.
Well, it's the woman that says she doesn't get along with women. She's always hung with men. Those women that say,
friends.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And the guys thing is that's not a. I mean, you can hang with the guys, but it's like it's to me, it's like parallel with the taking the hoe home to your mama. What is it?
I feel like this, like, it's nothing wrong with being a woman and liking girl things. Don't put that down. If you want to hang with guys, hang with them, but don't put women down in order to hang with the guys.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
But I like one thing that you said that stood out that I might do a show about is the Black church. So we may talk about that on a later show, but I want to go to the final thoughts. We've been going for an hour now. So I want to talk about the final thoughts of everybody. You can take something from the entire show and give your final thoughts on it. I'm going to say the last word, but I'm going to start with you, Sheeta, because I done started with Geraldine and April a million times, but you need to start.
Girl, I'll get this party started.
What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts are always, I'm about, it takes a village. I'm about education. So when it comes to the Meghan situation, I think that was a very loving opportunity to really unite the world and to change things that just totally went awry. They weren't ready. I guess they just really thought that they could, I don't want to say be pushovers, but they wanted to continue. Well, no, it's just a unique situation, but I don't think that they handled the situation the best. And I think that's just, I'm glad that it was on the platform that it was, so that it could generate more discussion, so that people could really see this is a really deep issue worldwide. It's an international issue. It's not just something that America is focusing on or, changing. It's been a world issue into how we've been perceived and how we've been basically outlined to be. So I think that, we need to rewrite it. We need to sit back down at the table and That's it. That's my thoughts.
All right. Thank you, Lashita. April, what are your thoughts on everything?
Oh, I got a lot. I'm gonna try to do this quickly. I do want to respond to something like she just said. Personally, I am very pro hoe, because I think only thing a hoe is a woman a dude ain't slept with yet. So don't let these labels or possible labels deter you. Be safe, be be safe, but do you, because someone's going to have something to say regardless of how you live your life. So just live your life in a way that's true to you, that's causing no harm to others, but that is true to you and your belief system. When you do the church episode, the church is a breeding ground for pick-me's. It actually creates a lot of it, that with a lot of the teachings from the Black church. But I think everything just goes to thine own self, be true. And it's just really important to do some soul searching, particularly when you find yourself reacting so strongly to people you don't know, or wanting to put down another person, or so quick to name call and label and say, well, that's why you, and that just kind of just put the mirror on self and say, self, what am I missing right now? Why do I feel the need to lash out and name call and put down to make myself feel better? So maybe instead of running to a YouTube video of a Mr. Samuels or a Reddit thread on the red pill and incels, maybe run a Psychology Today and look up who's in your area that takes your insurance.
Yes, thank you, April. You said that so beautifully.
I take the insurance now. I take the insurance.
So, Geraldine, what are your final thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, the important things to take away from really anything all of us have said is really focus on what is of value to you. To touch on Lashita, if the mantra is inspiring to you, be inspired to focus on what April was saying, what resonates with who you are as a person. Do that thing. And I think at the end of the day, the common theme through all of this, whether it's Meghan and Harry, colorism, featurism, the simp and pick me situation, at the end of the day, people have judgments on your life. You need to judge what's important for you. You can sit around and be miserable, or you can decide, this is who I am as a person. This is what I'm going to project. And no matter what someone says about it, that's not in keeping with royal standard. That's not what you do to get a woman. That's not in line with showing Black people in their best, whatever it is, they're going to have a judgment. Do what feels right in your soul, and don't feel the need to tear down others to be wherever you got. We got, and we want to be our own best supports. And if you find yourself wanting to tear somebody because you feel low, that's a reflection of where you are. And like April said, Psychology Today, look us up. We're all over the place. We're across America. Find somebody.
Please run that across the screen, please.
Well, thank you, Geraldine. I'm actually take the final thoughts down so people can see that Geraldine and April are doctors of psychology. I want to thank all of these beautiful women for being on my show. Lashita, April, Geraldine, these are women that I've known for many, many years. I haven't talked to them in a minute, some of them, but I want to thank them for joining. And like all of them have said, like, do you? We are beautiful in who we are. We cannot let society and YouTube dictate who we should be. So if you feel a certain way, just do it. But I will be talking about the Black church. That will be one of my next shows. I hope you ladies join me on that show. And I want to thank everyone for watching The Candy Shop. Again, my name is Candace. I've had Dr. Geraldine, Dr. April, and Miss Lashita, aka Adore. So thank you for watching, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.